slopes for Team Mongoose. He won at Snow Summit, and he's our overall tour leader. Steve Pete won here last year, and he wants to beat Lopes and everybody else. Welcome, everybody, to stop number 2 of the Chevy Truck National Championship Series of mountain biking. We're coming to you from Seven Springs Mountain Resort in Pennsylvania, getting ready for the Visa Downhill. I'm Gordy Johnson, along with mountain bike pro Leah Garcia. Leah, it's a short but fairly technical course.
The exciting part about the course today is because it is so short, what you're going to see is racers coming through making no errors in order to get to the podium. There's a rock garden section. I highly suggest you go check that out. There's a big drop-off where they have to finish with a couple of big swooping turns to get to the finish line.
We have the top riders from the National Point Series and also a few international riders fresh off the World Cup.
Yeah, it's going to be a great race. There's a couple of racers from Europe over here, and they're always good on these technical conditions.
The top pros like Mike King get up with the sun for one final walking inspection down the course. All this action brought to you by Visa. NORBA prefers Visa. And by GT Bicycles. It's your world. Ride it.
Our name has been around for decades. It's synonymous with performance. Yet, we make none of the products shown here. We simply make bicycles. Very fast bicycles.
These jeans have been constructed out of cotton that was purposely mistreated to make it hard. We've rolled it between slabs of pig iron to make it rough and unyielding to the touch. We dyed it dark as anything made out of dirt can be dyed. All with utter disregard for your dainty, pedal-soft skin. Levi's hard jeans. You're welcome.
I'm Ironhead Hayward. I'm used to challenges, and I challenge you to try Zest Deodorant Body Wash. Now, I hear you snickering.
But Ironhead, aren't body washes for ladies?
Listen, chump, Zest doesn't have heavy moisturizers.
But Ironhead, what's with this thingy?
That lather builder works with Zest Body Wash to give you twice the fresh-smelling lather of this bar, and it rinses cleaner, so you're cleaner, more refreshed, period.
Zest Body Wash. Get cleaner, more refreshed.
Get zestfully clean.
This summer. Get ready.
Hey.
To get whacked.
Say hello to my little friend.
Mafia.
Boogie, boogie, boogie.
Rated PG-13. Starts Friday, July 24th at a theater near you.
Ready to race. Lisa Scher warming up on her rollers. Lee Donovan getting dialed in. And we had a chance to talk to Marla Streb about her bike. Marla, you're riding the Lawwell-equipped Yeti bike. How's that working on this terrain?
Well, that bike really works on all terrains. It's an 8-inch travel bike, and Mert Lawwell designed it. I think it's the best pedaler on the circuit, and it has quite a bit of travel. I have the new RockShox suspension. And the bike itself, I mean, going through the rock sections, you can just kind of rely on the bike and ride it like a bucking bronco, and it'll take care of things. And then in the turns, it tracks really well. So I feel really lucky to be riding that this year.
Difficult is an understatement. Look, here's some of the best women in the world just duking it out. It's carnage.
Technical does not even describe this course. You're talking about roots the size of logs and boulders as big as refrigerators.
There was Kim Saunier trying to stay on the bike. Running through, you can see there's pads on the trees. Here comes Elko Broussard.
Oh, that hurts.
That hurts, but for these athletes, it's probably more painful to finish slow. Sari Jorgensen out of Switzerland. She's already won a World Cup downhill this year.
At only 18 years old, this young lady has a great future ahead of her.
But you can see completely stopping in that section. That's going to really hurt her overall result.
It's unfortunate, but I think that she's used to these conditions in Europe, and she should be able to turn on the speed on the bottom part of the course.
Trying to get going there. You can see her just trying to push off anything in sight to get some traction.
This is the fast pedaling, sweeping part of the course. Here she can make up some valuable time.
She needs to make up some time at this point because the fastest riders are at the start lined up behind her. Her time, 2:51.97. Leah with some big mistakes. I don't know if that's even going to put her on the podium.
Gordy, it might not, because remember, in this race, the best racers run last.
Kim Saunier in the start gate, Volvo Cannondale. Super high-tech bike. Amazing suspension on this new Cannondale bike.
She's riding the Cannondale, plus the fact that she is a veteran racer. She's been on the starting gate more times than most of these women combined.
Through the sweeping berm turn there, you can see here out of the saddle and hammering, but it's not very fast at that section because they're already setting up for this drop-off.
You've got to be tentative right now. You know, Kim was a gymnast for about 10 years, and I have a feeling that her gymnastic skills are going to come in handy right here.
She got through that section cleaner than Sari Jorgensen.
She looks good through here.
A few dabs, a little drag into the feet, but keeping the tires rolling.
There's nothing wrong with that right now. Remember, the course is still pretty slimy.
Oh, coming completely off the saddle. Now that was the biggest mistake so far in this run.
That'll cost her some valuable time.
Kim Saunier now, about 10 seconds until she crosses the line, trying to move into the top 5. Kim Saunier, Volvo Cannondale, across with a 2:51.16. Still some fast riders coming up. One of them, Elke Brutsart. We asked her how the rain is affecting her line.
I did a practice run this morning, and I actually rode the same lines that I rode all week in the dry. You just have to take the same lines and not be tentative and run right through them and hope that you don't slip. It's kind of like a 50-50 chance.
Every time Elke Brutsart comes onto a downhill course, she's a contender.
She absolutely is, riding a nice Schwinn bike right there. Schwinn out of Durango.
That's right, that's the Schwinn Lawwell Straight 6 downhill suspension, the same one her teammate Jürgen Benecke wins on.
Coming into the rock section now, it's time for the true test.
Good up until there, but a major mistake. You can see her tried to just dab, but the foot slipped on the rock also.
Smart woman, too. Do you see the size of the knee pads that she's wearing? That's going to come in handy when she encounters the rocks.
That's right, and after that crash she had in the semifinal, you know why she's got the armor. A good run here, never completely stopped, but not perfect.
Chris, what's going on? Did you see Elke through that section?
With the caliber of competition, you're going to have a perfect run to win this race.
Sherry Elliott, Intense and Maxxis, and those Intense frames, a lot of the top amateurs, that's the bike they want.
Absolutely, you can go and buy that bike right there out of a shop.
Sherry Elliott with the #1 plate, indicating she was our overall national champion last year. The red, white, and blue plate, clean so far.
She's been a member of our national team since 1994. She's only had one career win, and she needs to have another one.
Ooh, T-bones that rock right under that cameraman.
Even though that rock was padded, let me tell you, it's still hard underneath there.
She hit so hard, and I can't believe she got up so quickly. That was like a George Foreman TKO.
I'd call that adrenaline right there. You're just running on adrenaline. She knows she needs to make up time. She's going to put everything she has into the bottom half of the course.
After a hard spill like that, though, you can see still a little sluggish on the pedal strokes, but she's an amazing bike handler.
5'2" powerhouse is what I call her. She's the only female to ever win a BMX race against a male field.
She comes through with a 2:41.46. She moves into the lead with 1 to go. Riding for Yeti, Marla Streb, the #1 qualifier in the semifinal round. She did it with a rear flat.
That shows you what kind of tough woman she is. You know, Marla was my teammate last year, and I love her to death. She's got a lot of determination, and it's paid off over the years.
A little bit wide on that section of the course, but this is where it all counts. This is where it's won or lost, in the woods.
In this technical section right now, she and her teammates take a video camera in the prelims, and they tape their run over and over to find the best line.
That's tactics, that's strategy. They study this course, they re-ride it over and over, but looks like she put her best run right when she needed it.
She's coming in for the finals, and I really haven't seen her this determined ever in my life.
Now she just has about 3 zigzag switchbacks, and she'll bring it to the line. The time to beat, 2:41.46.
This is close. Look at her hammer. She's also a cross-country racer. She's got good stamina and good endurance.
To the line, Marla Streb, 2:39.67, the gold medal.
Oh, that is so exciting. Marna, we're here. Your first national victory. How's it feel?
Oh, it's better than anything else I've ever felt. I was waiting for this moment for 4 years, so it's worth it.
And what was the course like?
The course got tackier and tackier as the day progressed because of the sun, and I did have spikes on my bike, but I probably didn't need them. So.
Do you think that being the last person to run was a huge advantage?
It was more of an advantage for sure. Everything got drier quickly.
And the rock section, did they give you any problems?
A little bit. I looked like Barney Rubble there for a while, but I somehow managed to stay on my bike. My Yeti is the best bike on the circuit because it has 8 inches of travel. It's a beautiful bike, and the RockShox is great, so I kind of just let the bike do the work.
That's Nikki Grant. She qualified 27th, moved all the way up to 4th. Her best finish ever.
Ryder.
Okay, Nicole, your first podium finish in a national race with a new sponsorship. How was the course?
The course was really good. It was actually really muddy on our qualifier, but then it started drying up a lot, and it was pretty smooth and tacky, so it wasn't bad at all.
I heard you took a crash up towards the top.
Yeah, I dabbed a lot and crashed a little bit in the first rock section, which caused me, some time, but, everything else was smooth, so it was good.
So Marla Streb takes it, followed by Sherry Elliott and Elke Broussard. Coming up later in the show, the men's downhill, and the Europeans are in town.
It comes in a flash and leaves in a heartbeat. It's opportunity. If you own a business like I do, you know all about it. You either jump all over it, or you get in the long line of shouldas and couldas.
Opportunity? It's $1 million idea.
For me, it was knowing when to go out on my own.
Or finding a tool that makes doing business easier. The Gold Corporate Card for Small Business from American Express.
It's easy to apply. Call now.
The card started as a way to simplify bookkeeping. Today, it also provides savings at Kinko's, FedEx, and other businesses. And our dedicated Small Business Services Group offers savings on health and dental care, as well as equipment financing.
They do all that so I can stay ahead of the curve.
It's easy to apply. Call 1-800-SUCCESS.
Let American Express give your business the power to do more.
Well, it's not a random thing. We can't tell which way the bulls are going to run exactly, but there is a strategy.
One person is the runner, and everyone else is the bull, and we'll take turns doing that so that we can all get proper training.
We train hard. It's rough.
By becoming a bull, I can escape the bull. I can get inside the bull.
And that's what this sport's all about.
We are one with the bulls.
We will run with the bulls.
ESPN Sunday Night Football. Season begins September 6th.
The slalom's coming up next, but the question is Sherry Elliott okay after her big crash?
I was going really fast through the rock section at the bottom, and when I fell, I went head first into one of the biggest rocks down there, hit extremely hard. Just in the thrill of adrenaline, I just got right back up and kept going. Very dizzy the rest of the way down, and I knew that I should be checked out. It was a hard hit.
How tough is Sherry Elliott from the backboard to the slalom start gate against the young, ripping Australian Katrina Miller?
Katrina won the first race in Big Bear. She's by far one of the best dual slalom racers we have out there on the field.
And Sherry Elliott, she's always a contender. A little side note, Lee Donovan was injured. She was unable to race. So it's Sherry Elliott going against Katrina, and Sherry DQ'd right there.
She went off course. You cannot do that. You have to stay in your line, just like ski racing.
Katrina Miller takes the gold. Sherry Elliott will take the bronze, and it looks like Katrina's going to grab a few style points here on the tabletop.
Always worth a few points to kick up your bike like that.
Across the line, there's your women's dual slalom champ. One race to go in the duel. In the gate, Brian Lopes in the orange on the left. Steve Pete, Team GT on the right. They're off, and Lopes gets the whole shot again, Leah.
He's got the whole shot, but you've got to remember, Pete's got reckless enthusiasm. He's going to fire down this course.
Steve Pete making up some time. They're dead even into the traverse. Now Steve Pete takes the lead.
Nice tight corners around the gate.
Lower section gets a little bit faster on the red course, so Lopes getting ready to reel in Steve Pete with about 10 gates to go.
From this perspective, Pete's got a huge advantage. He's coming through to the finals. Offline a little bit.
Offline, and that was just enough for Lopes to take it at the wire. Lopes the gold. Steve Pete takes the silver. Check out Shams March. This one's all for the crowd here in Seven Springs. 60 feet. He lands and snaps the crank. Just so much pressure on the pedals.
Sean's made his debut with Plush the Video last year. He's got some awesome jump scenes in that as well.
And thousands of fans recognizing the big air of Shams March. That's what it's all about. It's a mountain bike festival. And when we come back, it's the downhillers, and the course wants a piece of them.
Our name has been around for decades. It's synonymous with performance. Yet, we make none of the products shown here. We simply make bicycles. Very fast bicycles.
They're moving up.
They're promoting.
Captain Reeves.
Captain Murtaugh.
And settling down.
We never talked about marriage.
You want to get married?
But old habits
We need to stay off the streets and out of trouble.
are hard to break.
Beautiful.
Mel Gibson, Danny Glover, Joe Pesci, Rene Russo, and Chris Rock.
We're not too old for this.
Lethal Weapon 4, a Richard Donner film, rated R. Starts Friday, July 10th.
Come on, this is nothing. This is nothing. Let's go.
Imagine you're in a spinning class for 10 hours a day, 21 days in a row, with the world's most insane instructor.
Come on, let's go, faster. Almost there up the hill, come on.
And then you might,
Foot.
just might,
Faster, come
begin
on.
to feel what it's like
Come on, let's go.
to compete in this event.
Faster, foot.
The Tour de France begins Saturday at 5:30 on ESPN.
This sellout crowd puts some of the spectators in the cheap seats. They're jamming around this monstrous section of the course. In the start gate, the colors of Schwinn Toyota, Jürgen Benecke. This guy is a contender. He loves this type of course.
I talked to Jürgen after the race was over, and he explained to me about his background. Coming over from Germany, he raced a lot on the road in preparation for this type of training.
He's also one of the only downhillers that gets out and rides with the pro cross-country riders. Jürgen Benecke setting up for the drop-off.
Coming into this section, his teammate is down at the bottom, Dave Cullinan, with a walkie-talkie telling him how the course has changed.
Got a pre-course report there. You can see, hit his crank arm or his pedal on a rock, almost knocked him off the bike, but he hung in there. That is a clean line through that section.
This is where his powerful quads are going to come into play, bringing him home to the finish.
That's right, arcing that sweeping turn and then quickly onto the accelerator. Jürgen Benecke trying to see if he can take the lead away. Final sprint for Benecke across the line. His time as he comes through 2:14.33. He takes the lead. He's the man to beat. But 5 very fast riders coming up. This is Eric Carter for Team GT. Eric Carter in that vertical takeoff ramp. Still tough at the top of this course.
This is where his BMX background is going to come into play. He has some fabulous skills on this type of course.
Excellent acceleration out of the corners. That's what's helping him there.
Now, you have to remember, downhill is the shortest distance between point A, the start, and point B, the finish. When it comes to this rocky section, you've got to pedal through.
That's right, and they changed this whole course for all the amateur riders. It was way too tough. Pros only in this section.
You're counting on your suspension here. There's no way you can let things slide. He needs to pick it up at the bottom part of the course and make up time.
His time to beat is Jürgen Benecke's 2:14.33. It's going to be close. He's on pace to take the lead away. Final couple turns for Carter.
Leg pump right now is huge.
And Eric Carter out of the saddle. It's going to be tight at the line. 11 hundredths, and he moves into the lead by 11 hundredths of a second. Up next, Flying Brian Lopes. We had to talk to him about his new setup.
Today I'm running the Shimano airline shifting, and it's basically controlled by air canister. And the reason I'm running it really is, well, for one reason, I hurt my thumb last week, so it's really light action, so you barely have to touch it and it shifts. It's really precise, and it can't get contaminated.
Just a little angle on more of the high-tech equipment you're seeing on the Pro Mountain Bike Tour. And on course, this is Flying Brian Lopes on that Mongoose full suspension. Flawless on the top, Leah.
Back in Big Bear, we got to see Brian do a backflip after winning this race. He is decisively one of the best downhillers we have on the circuit.
Smooth, excellent balance, and a master bike handler.
Definitely. You can see that he's really able to take those tight turns, stay centered on his bike, and lean into them.
Leah, watch how he uses his body and his bike to absorb the terrain here. Sucking it up with the shoulders, the arms, the legs, and the full suspension on the travel of the frame.
Remember, there's no way you can do this without the full suspension bike that these pros are riding.
Lopes out of the saddle, and he needs to beat the time of Eric Carter's 2:14.22.
Standing up out of the saddle, he's pumping to the finish line.
At the interval, at the split, he was on the pace to take the lead.
Right now, he's anaerobic, which means that his heart is buried at the top limit.
Mongoose is flying Brian Lopes. Seconds away. Trying to get on the podium. 2 stops in a row.
Coming through to the finals. You can see him again putting that BMX sprint to the finish.
One of the best sprints in the sport, and Lopes uses it to take the lead. 2:13.31 for Lopes, and people are diving for cover.
Time will tell if that lead will hold, because we've got some Europeans on the mark.
From Barcelona, Spain, riding for Volvo Cannondale, David Vasquez. And Vasquez, this is his first race on the National Championship Series Tour, but everyone's talking about this guy.
He raced in the Spanish Championship Series and the World Cup Series. I believe he was one of the top 3 in the world for the junior division.
If it's possible, he rides the thing like it's a motorcycle.
Yeah, they do a lot of motocross training over there in Barcelona, and terrain-wise, it's identical to this right here.
It is. It's tough. He's used to riding the very European-style downhills. A problem there, a mistake, but he's still rolling pretty nicely.
He's hustling right now. The bottom part of the course, this 19-year-old has confidence and is primed for victory.
And that's a great tip for you beginner sport riders out there. If you make a mistake, you don't give up. You hammer like Vasquez does at the finish.
209 trying to take it away across the line.
And he squeaks across and bumps Lopes by 1.66. So you see, a little mistake, but he didn't give up.
Exactly.
We'll be back to 7th Spring for the final 2 racers in the Visa Downhill.
Leisure suits, go-go boots, feathered hat, fat cat, hippie chick, bachelor jerk, disco duper, Gucci shirt, shark skin slacks, gun in sags, patent leather, boa feathers, hip hugger, toe jugger, brown shoe, ribbon moves, on the main lingerie, saddle shoe.
At the Attic Vintage Clothing Store in Las Vegas, the only thing that's out of style is using American Express. So bring your Visa card. Visa, it's everywhere you want to be.
On July 17th, experience what's being called the epic adventure of the summer. Antonio Banderas, Anthony Hopkins. No fun at all. The Mask of Zorro, rated PG-13. Opens July 17th.
Oh, you missed me. What'd you have for breakfast? Wheat or white? Love you too, my little raisin. Sorry about the long call, but 1-800 collects only 10 cents a minute every evening.
10 cents a minute?
Amazingly cheap, isn't it? So please don't kill me. 1-800 collect. 10 cents a minute every evening.
This magazine captures the sizzle of sports. The glory, the joy, the pathos.
What's up with Dion? Has he really found religion? Can he save America's team? Get me inside the Braves pitching staff. Are they the best ever? And give me the scoop on Punch and Eagle. Are these free swinging Rangers for real? Printed, baby!
Chevy Truck National Championship Series of Mountain Biking. Brought to you by Visa. NORBA prefers Visa. And by GT Bicycles. It's your world. Ride it. The two fastest qualifiers are coming up next. This guy's one of them. Steve Pete, the defending champion at Seven Springs. We're in the pits checking out his brand new GT bike. Steve, tell us about the suspension setup.
Well, I'm running like 7-inch front and rear. My RockShox box is working good up front, and GT Lobos like got 7-inch on the rear. It's all working pretty good.
Now, it looks like you got a fairly small chain ring on the front. How big is it, and what's the philosophy there?
I got a 46 on for this race because there's a lot of corners coming in, and you have to brake and then pedal out of them, so it's pretty easy gearing so I can get out of the turns quick.
A lot of shifting on this course?
Not really. There's a bit you have to like stay smooth, maybe shift like a couple of gears going into a turn so that you can come out in an easier gear.
Steve Pete, the master of style, especially on this course, and he's going at it as usual. Reckless abandon is how you described it.
Watching Pete is what makes downhilling exciting. You're combining speed, agility, and natural talent.
Rider up.
And a little tweak factor. This guy doesn't care what happens. He wants to stand on the podium.
You know what? He does care what happens because he's got a title to defend. He came to this race specifically to win this one.
A little bit off the bike there, but he's rolling full speed ahead through that incredible rough section. The GT Lobo bike absorbing what Steve Pete's body can't.
That suspension allows his wheel to follow the surface. Increased traction eliminates skip and chatter.
And it worked well for him there. He did have one mistake in the middle. We'll see if he can come across and beat Vasquez's 2:13.17. But Vasquez came off the bike. Here comes Steve Pete to the line. He has got it. 2:11.94. 2:11.94. Oscar Saez qualified first. He's the man to beat. He starts last. The course is dried out. It's faster than it's been all day long. Can he do it?
He can definitely do it. This man's from Barcelona, which has bred a lot of great mountain bike racers. Near the Pyrenees, good training.
Excellent training. And Oscar Saez, he's younger and a little bit more aggressive. He rides right on the verge of disaster.
If you watch from here on out, the man hardly ever touches his saddle. He rides up, takes a quick shooting line right through the center of the rocks.
Straight line right over those boulders. Some of those boulders 2.5 feet high.
He chose a line unlike any of the other riders, but it's worked for him.
It worked well. Part of the course inspection is picking that line and sticking to that decision. Now, does he have it left in his legs to power out and take the victory away from Mr. Steve Pete?
Remember, he's going for a technique of not sitting on the bike, standing up and pedaling the whole way.
Using up all of those turns, that would indicate he's got a lot of speed on the lower section.
As we say in Spain, venga, venga, he better put it on for the finish.
He's got to beat a 2:11.94. Out of the saddle. Oh, squeaks it by Steve Pete. Takes it by 43/100ths of a second.
Seven Springs, Pennsylvania, the #1 man here in the downhill race. Tell me about the course.
Well, the course was in the semifinal was muddy because it has been raining yesterday, and we raced muddy in semifinal. And after I saw the sun came out and it was drying out a lot, so I just make a tire change and I put the IRC Cujos on my bike, and well, I guess I did a good choice. And on the course it was all grass, all the grass parts, and the corners was all dry, so really good grip, good traction, and the rocks was just wet a little bit, but much easier than the semifinal.
On the podium, Marla Streb, the gold medalist, followed by Sherry Elliott, Elka Brutzart, Nicole Grant, and Kim Saunier. On the men's side, great race from Oscar Saez, followed by Steve Pete, David Vasquez, Brian Lopes, and Eric Carter. Heading into Mammoth, Brian Lopes and Marla Streb leading the National Championship Series. Be sure to tune into the Visa Downhill. That'll be stop number 3 from Mammoth Lakes, California. Thursday, August 13th, right here on the Deuce, ESPN2. Travel provider.